Hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're back with a match preview today as Stockport County take on Stevenage away from home at the Lamex Stadium. Obviously looking forward to this one. I'm back following Stockport County this weekend, of course, after missing the game against Exeter City at Edgeley Park last weekend. But speaking to those that were there, didn't really miss too much. Didn't sound the most entertaining of the games, so maybe I was quite lucky that I did end up missing that one, of course. A 2-0 win for Stockport County. Let's just quickly go over the results in the league table from League One from last weekend then, of course. So we did see quite a few postponed matches as well. Lincoln City drew 0-0 with Charlton Athletic. Wigan lost 2-0 to Leyton Orient at home. Birmingham City managed to beat Barnsley 2-1. Blackpool versus Rotherham was postponed, as was Bristol Rovers and Bolton Wanderers. Wrexham got a narrow 1-0 win away from home against Burton Albion. Cambridge with a 4-1 win over Shrewsbury Town. Crawley Town versus Stevenage postponed. Mansfield losing 2-1 to Huddersfield Town. Stockport County with that 2-0 win, of course, over Exeter City. And Wycombe drawing 1-1 with Reading. Then, of course, we had some Monday Night Football in League One as well, where Northampton managed to get a 2-1 win over Peterborough United. So this is how the League One table's taking shape now, of course. Wycombe, top, although after winning 8 on the bounce, they've only taken 2 points from their last 2 league games, allowing Wrexham in second to catch up. Wrexham are enjoying a winning run of their own after losing to County at Edgeley Park back in November. The Red Dragons have won 4 in a row, with relegation threatened Cambridge next up for Wrexham. Birmingham City's Jay Stansfield popped up with 2 goals 20 minutes apart to beat Barnsley, continuing their push to reclaim top spot. Reading's draw last weekend sees them continue their unbeaten run to 5 now, which has helped them rise up into the top 6. Mansfield Town have lost 5 in a row as they sit 10th in the table. It may get easier with Charlton Athletic up next. The Addicts, who are just inside the top half, have been in patchy form of late. And of course, if we have a quick look at the bottom half of the table, Peterborough United, 15th now in the table, have lost each of their last 3 after beating Cambridge 6-1 in November. Rotherham, relegated from the Championship last season, many expected them to have a strong season in League One, currently find themselves 20th in the table, just a point away from the relegation spots. Crawley and Cambridge have a fighting chance of survival this season. However, Burton and Shrewsbury both on 11 points and 9 points from safety. I just don't see where the points come from between them. They've only won 5 games in the league all season between them. That's the lowest amount of wins they'd need each to be in with a chance of being out of the current relegation spots. So it's not looking good for Burton and for Shrewsbury this season in League One. Let's just have a quick look at the upcoming fixtures in League One as well. Of course, this weekend, 2 12:30 kickoffs. Burton Albion involved in one of those, but Bolton Wanderers will take on Wigan Athletic in what was probably a former Premier League fixture many years ago. Leyton Orient, of course, against Burton Albion, the other 12:30 kickoff. Birmingham will take on Bristol Rovers. Charlton versus Mansfield. Exeter against Barnsley. Huddersfield will take on Lincoln City. Peterborough against Crawley Town. Reading versus Blackpool. Rotherham United, looking to get more points to try and get up the table. They'll take on Northampton Town. Shrewsbury Town, bottom of the table against top of the table Wycombe, with Stevenage taking, of course, Stockport County. And Wrexham versus Cambridge, a scary away game for Cambridge with the form that Wrexham are in. So now we've got that one out of the way. That is, of course, the results from League One last weekend, where, as I say, we did see quite a lot of postponed matches. Luckily for us, Stockport County wasn't postponed. You don't really want postponements, do you? Because they get pushed back to midweek at the end of the season. We had a couple of them last season. I think Colchester was one. Notts County was one. I think we might have had a couple of others as well. They're never nice to have, and I'm sure County will end up having some at some point. But luckily we avoided one last weekend. We managed to get the job done, a 2-0 win. Obviously, we lost midweek in the EFL Trophy, which is disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. It's more disappointing from the point of view of the team that we put out. It was a strong team by my standards at least. It looks like a strong team. So it's disappointing when a strong team loses to a team that the division below, particularly a team in the division below, which has been in patchy form in Bradford City of late. But fair play to them, it's a good win for them, and it's probably a bit more exciting for them to have a bit of a cup run in that competition. Obviously, County do have their focus on the league and the FA Cup against Crystal Palace on the 12th of January. But looking into this game today, this upcoming weekend, Stevenage away. We obviously faced them in the 22-23 season, They were promoted, of course. I think they finished second in the end, getting that automatic spot. And of course, County finished just outside the automatics in that fourth place spot and had to go through the playoffs. And obviously didn't get over the line against Carlisle, although we probably should have done in the game. Like I say, it's all water. It's all water on the bridge now, isn't it? But and it probably turned out better for County that they did take that second year in League Two. But the two teams meet again this season in League One, and of course Stevenage, not probably been the best of seasons for them. For County, it's been a bit of a strange one. It started very well, then results took a bit of a dip. Then we seem to be back up again. I know we lost to Birmingham last week, but it's Birmingham, the form they're in, that they're just levels ahead of most teams. Although the league table doesn't currently show that, I'm sure by the end of the season they'll be top of the table. Though Wickham have been brilliant, haven't they? Complete surprise. I mean, I don't think anyone would have expected Wickham. Even Wickham fans probably wouldn't have expected them to be doing just as well as they're doing so far this season in League One. So credit to them. You do get surprises in these kind of leagues, and Wickham are definitely one in my opinion. But yeah, we did lose to Birmingham. Like I say, it wasn't the best of performances. We bounced back with a win though. Probably wasn't the best performances in that win against Exeter, but it's a job done. It's 3 points. It's 2 goals. It's another clean sheet. And I think we've now done. That was three league games in a row, wasn't it? So that's all positive for Stockport County. But obviously we've got Stevenage coming up, and like I say, it will be an interesting one to see just what it's like. Obviously the gap between the two teams, with them going up the year before us, and then obviously them having a season in League One, but us coming back, us coming back up. I say back up, us coming up, and being levels ahead of them in terms of in the table. It will be an interesting game on Saturday, of course. Stevenage, well, what can I tell you about Stevenage? Not as much as a Stevenage fan, unfortunately, but Stevenage do have 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat in their last 5 league games. However, talking about postponements, due to postponements, Stevenage have only played three of those league games in the last 2 months, whereas County have played 6 in the last 2 months. Stevenage won their last league game in a 2-0 win over Northampton at home on the 3rd of December. They've also this week progressed to the last 16 of the EFL Trophy with a strong 4-0 win over fellow League One side Burton Albion. Not really League One though, are they? Let's face it, at this point in time. Stevenage have 6 wins altogether in League One this season, with just one of those 6 coming away from home. A strong team at home, obviously. They've also had some good results at home over top half table sides, beating the likes of Barnsley, Charlton and Wrexham in consecutive home games. That bit frightens me, I've got to be honest. To in 3 consecutive home games, get results against Barnsley, Charlton and Wrexham. That does worry me. It does worry me a little bit, if I'm being honest. Goal threats then, where the threats going to be in this Stevenage side? As I said, I'm not completely clued up on them. They're not one of the biggest teams in League One, so therefore the attention isn't on them the same. Obviously, the likes of Birmingham, Wrexham, you can talk about their threats, but teams a little bit maybe not in the same limelight. If you're not following them week in, week out, you won't be as clued up on them. But they have a couple of names which do stand out or jump out to me. And Dan Kemp is one of those names. 3 league goals in 16 games this season. Doesn't sound like the best of records, but the reason why that name rings a bell is due to his form in League 2 last season. The ex-West Ham Academy player scored 17 goals in 46 League 2 games last season for both Swindon and MK Dons. I think he finished the season with MK Dons, got promoted, and then of course moved on to Stevenage. Another player that hasn't hit form so far this season by the looks of it, looking at the stats, but we know he can produce the goods, is Jake Young. Just 1 goal in 9 this season, but had 16 goals from 25 games for Swindon in the first half of last season before being recalled by Bradford for the second half of the season, only to feature in just 4 league games and fail to register any goal involvements. So it's been a disappointing year almost, I suppose, with for Jake Young, especially after doing so well in that first 6 months of the League 2 season last season. I remember it really well. I remember both these names came up when I was talking, probably around this time last year. I was talking about players, what kind of players should County be looking to bring in January. I do remember people in the comments at that point in time saying that players like Dan Kemp and players like Jake Young are players that we should be looking at. Obviously, we didn't do a deal for any of those players. They're now both at Stevenage. One's doing better than the other, but they're both still threats, because at the end of the day, if you can score 16 goals in roughly 6 months at League 2 level, you can probably do something if given the opportunity in League 1 as well. So very interesting but those two are joined back up together, I suppose, at Stevenage. Stockport County bounced back with a win at the weekend over Exeter after last week's defeat to Birmingham. It's now 4 wins and 1 defeat in the Hatters' last 5 league games. However, County have failed to win without Louis Barry scoring in all those games. The on-loan Villa forward is expected to be recalled in January, with a loan move to the Championship on the cards. County have only managed to win 1 league game all season without Barry scoring. That was a 2-0 win over Shrewsbury, where Barry was returning from illness. So Louis Barry has scored 9 in his last 10 league games for County, and will be expected, of course, to be amongst the goals should County manage to win this weekend. If you take away Louis Barry's goals from County, and the drop-off is dramatic, County have scored 31 league goals so far this season, while Barry is responsible for directly 14 of those goals. Without Barry, County would be one of the lowest scorers in the division, with only a few, such as Stevenage, scoring fewer than County, if that were the case. So obviously we know Louis Barry's a fantastic talent, a brilliant player in fantastic form. I don't think even when he came back in the summer we could have dreamed he would have started the season as well as he did do. He's been in brilliant form, and I think that's why Aston Villa have decided, do we want to test him at a higher level? Do we take him out of that equation mid-season and try him in the Championship? And I think that's what they will end up doing. Obviously, we're still waiting for that announcement. Obviously, we had the news yesterday that Stockport County have gone and turned to signing an Icelandic striker, but they made very clear in their statement it's not going to be part of the first team plans immediately. He's going to be part of the development squad, I think, or something along those lines. So he is not a direct replacement anyway for Louis Barry. Let's make that very clear. But Louis Barry is expected to go, so County have to be looking at options. I do expect us to announce something either just before the window opens, like we've done with this signing from the Icelandic striker from KR, I think it is. We either do something like that, before the window opens, or we announce something very quickly after the window opens in terms of a Louis Barry replacement. Because if he does go, we're going to need someone to replace what he offers, and that won't be easy. So I am worried about that, to be honest. I know we're looking at the game in Stevenage on Saturday, but we have to talk about it. It's a huge concern for County's season. Where will they be without Louis Barry? Because he's very, very clear we're quite over reliant on him this season. I think last season he was very, very good, but he wasn't the standout player. We had other players which could take the mantle, and Paddy Madden did that, TANTO Alafi did that. We also had good players, Sarcevic as well. They all chipped in with goals. I think this season, below Louis Barry, I think the top scorer after him is Wootton with 6. I think after that it's got Collar with 2. In fact, in the top 5 scorers for County in the league this season, Ethan Pye he's joint 5th with 1 goal with many other players. So that says it all, really. There hasn't been enough goals throughout the team. It's very much coming from Louis Barry, and that's why if you look at the Birmingham game, we lost 2-0. We weren't able to convert any of our chances, and it's basically because he was taken out of the game by Birmingham. So when he can't use the threat that he has, we don't typically tend to score, and I think that is a concern. So I am worried about how County will be beyond January should he be recalled, but I'm sure for County, I've got to trust them. They had the foresight to bring him in the first place, and I have to expect that they'll bring in a player which probably won't be as good as Louis Barry, let's be honest, but can fill that gap, and hopefully, let's say we can bring in someone who's half as good as Louis Barry on that left hand side, and we bring in 1 or 2 other players, we might be actually better as a team, if that makes sense in some ways. So it'll be disappointing to see Louis Barry go 100%. He'll be an important player for these next couple of games as well. He's been a fantastic player. I think he'll forever be in Stockport County fans' hearts, that's for sure. And I'm pretty sure Stockport County will forever be in his heart as well, because it's definitely the place he's enjoyed his football the most in his short career to date. So, yeah, disappointing that he will probably be moved on. Obviously, we've not had that official announcement yet, just speculation. But I do expect we'll hear something on that over the next few days or couple of weeks. But I'm pretty certain he will be gone. So we've got to get our heads around that. Where the goal's going to come from when he isn't in the team, I'm not 100% sure. But I suppose that's a topic more to go in depth on another day. Today we got to focus on the game against Stevenage and who's going to play against Stevenage. So we're going to go into the team news, what I think Dave Challoner will pick. I think he'll persist with that 3 at the back, which we've been playing with over the last couple of months, of course. Ben Hinchliffe between the sticks in goal. Callum Connolly as part of that right-sided centre-back role with Horsfall and Ethan Pye, the other 2 in that back 3. I think he'll go with Ibi Toure and Jay Mingy as the 2 wing-backs. Probably not the most forward-thinking wing-backs, but I think he'll go with those options, to be honest. I think he seemed a little bit concerned either with Rydell's performance over the last couple of games or fitness, but either way, I think he will probably not start the game this weekend. Obviously, Seven Hales is injured as well, which makes it very complicated down that right-hand side. I'm not sure when Niall's expected to be back. I'd love to hear a bit more on that and whether or not he actually gets in the team, because it's been so long since he's been out. I'm not really sure what will happen with that now. But for now, I think Jay Mingy will go into that position. Then the two central midfielders, Lewis Spate, of course, and Callum Camps, with Ollie Norwood dropping to the bench after his involvement in the EFL Trophy midweek. Will Collar will go just behind the two strikers, or potentially on the right-hand side with Louis on the left of that. But Louis Barry and Cal Watson as those two strikers, as I say, with the potential for Collar to go to the right, Barry to go to the left, and Watson to be that out-and-out number 9 striker. So that's what I think Dave Challoner will go with. This is the kind of team I would go with, as you probably all are well aware of. I'm not the biggest fan of Connolly, especially after that huge error against Brackley the other week. Hinchliffe in goal for me. Jay Mingy in that right centre-back position. Horsforn Pies, the other two centre-backs. Then I've gone with Ryan Rydell and Jack Diamond as the two sort of wing-backs on either side. Lewis Spate, of course, and Callum Camps in those two central midfield positions. And the front three, or the front two, is exactly as follows. Will Collar behind the two strikers, as I say, or could go to the right. And then, of course, Louis Barry and Cal Watson as the two strikers, or potentially as part of the front three with Will Collar. But one thing I would like to see in this game, I'd love to see Tanto Alafi get off the bench, get into that team at some point in the second half, and get a couple of goals, get a goal or something. Get that confidence up, and hopefully ease him into the team. Because if Barry does go, we're going to need someone to take on the mantle of scoring goals, and he did it last season, Alafi, and I'm sure he can cut it in League One. I don't think it's because he's not good enough. I just don't think he's been eased into the team from the get-go, having been injured in the summer. So that's what I'd like to see happen. That's the team I would go with versus the team I think Challoner will go with. Let me know who you think Stockport County should pick for this game against Stevenage in the starting 11 this Saturday afternoon. As I say, score prediction, I'm going to back County to win this game, but of course Stevenage could cause threats. As I say, Dan Kemp being one of those players. I do expect that County should win the game, to be honest. And in fact, I'm actually going with another 2-0 County win, following on from the win against Exeter last weekend. 2 goals for Stockport County, hopefully another clean sheet. Let me get your score predictions in the comment section below, of course. Do get your thoughts in as well on team selection, who you think will play, who you think can get the goals for Stockport County this weekend as well, of course, predictions as well. And hopefully you've all enjoyed it. Do hit the like button if you have enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you are new as well. Very, very close now to that 1,000 mark. Hopefully we can reach by the end of the year, of course. And hopefully you've all enjoyed watching. Hopefully see you guys in the next one with the match vlog coming out at some point Saturday evening. So thanks for tuning in.